And now it's time for your weekly dose of politics, news, and information with your hosts, Chris Mize and Doug Duck. It's the C&D No Bull Show.
Ding-a-ling, here we are.
That was quick.
Right.
How's everybody doing out there? Once again, Doug, I can't see. What do we got? 0 viewers? I can't see. Anyways, we got a goose egg. I can tell by your look.
No, we don't. I'm just not going to tell you.
First off, hey, thanks. You just want to piss me off right off the bat. First off, I want to thank all our veterans like we always do. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do shows like this, and it's becoming in jeopardy, Doug. With the way things are going. But still want to thank you veterans fighting for our country. All the military overseas in the homeland, we really appreciate what you're doing. I want to thank you. It's a thankless job, and appreciate you giving up, basically writing an unlimited check, to the government to protect our asses, and we appreciate that. I want to thank our first responders, police, fire, EMS, nurses, doctors, and tow trucks. We appreciate you guys too, especially with the so-called numbers flaring, Doug.
They are
2,300 in Ohio.
We've heard that before.
0 deaths, though. Have you been? If anybody's keeping up with the numbers,
wait till tomorrow.
Tomorrow you're going to see. No, it's normally Tuesday. We'll see 45 deaths. They'll go 4 days of 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and then boom. It's like COVID only takes lives on certain days. Unless I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know how they're doing the numbers. I don't know.
There's an agenda.
And I have a hard time believing that, a week or 2 weeks ago, we're 200, 300, 100, and then school's getting ready to start, and now we're at 2,300. In the last, 5-7 days, we've been over 17.
What'd I tell you?
Yep.
It'll be fall, and this thing will be full blown.
Yeah, we'll be back up 5,000 cases, 10,000 cases. Don't leave your house. I just don't see the not just Ohio. I don't see the American public, going through what we went through again.
Caving in again. I agree with you. I agree with you.
First time.
I don't think there'll be a civil war, but I don't think that they're going to be able to bully people around anymore.
No, and we're going way off track of what we want to talk about tonight, right? And that's okay, but I don't know if it was so much bullying as it was scare tactics starting out like the first time. They had us all scared. They had a lot of people scared shitless.
And I kind of see that because they didn't know what we were facing either. So the first part of it, I understand. March, April, May, June. Then after that, nothing makes any sense to me.
And if the people that watch this show, that at that time we didn't have this show, we were on Sandusky Speedway Live, and let's face it, me and Doug were. I hate to say this because we're not geniuses, but we
were pioneers.
We were on top of it.
Yeah, we were
long before it. And we started putting out in chat rooms with racers and that, hey, listen, quit worrying about racing.
Right.
Worry about your families, this, that, and the other. And that we went on a show live. I'll never forget this, Doug. I won't forget it for a long time. And me and Doug had talked, and we decided that we weren't even going to really talk about racing. We're going to talk about this virus that's out, and what we thought was coming at us, and we got chastised.
Yep.
We were told, what are you guys,
sheep,
you this, you that, this, that, and the other. Say, no, we're not sheep. We're just, we don't know what this is. Government don't, we're looking at things are going to get shut down, locked down, what's coming. And, laughing at us, And 3 weeks later, Oh yeah, here we are. We're shut down. Remember
I
that,
think,
Doug?
yes, I think even the king of racing said, "What are you guys doing?"
What are you guys doing? Don't even talk about that. It ain't gonna,
Right. That's nothing.
But it
We are the black sheep. That's
yeah,
right.
we're the black sheep. But and then that began shit, a fight. I mean, we agreed with a lot of things at the time, and then the numbers. Me and you talked every day. We watched Dickhead every day, with his, and we kind of fell. Don't get me wrong, people. We kind of fell right into that trap too. The scare tech trap is what it was, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
The unknown. We were scared of the unknown.
Yes,
and
I think this time around they're not going to be able to take the amendments and just go, "We're not using them now."
Yeah, we'll use them when they're convenient for us to use them.
Right.
And that's what they did last year.
Yes.
At the beginning of this.
Yes.
They took every freaking amendment that we had pretty much in the Constitution and
so we're not
shredded it.
Just don't worry about that. We're not going to be using that anymore. At least not during this.
Freedom of religion. They shredded that amendment.
Yes.
They shredded that amendment with the church. Now I get it at the time, but there was a time and point, people, where yeah, there you go. Yeah, we all did, Dean. I mean, we were watching DeWine there in March and April. He's one of the most popular persons in 20 and Altman today.
Yeah. So, and he would know that.
Paul, I got to get a hold of you. I got a car sitting at Paul's, and I ain't called him or nothing. I got a car. Yeah, I had it towed to Paul's down there, and son's in Akron. But I'll get a hold of you tomorrow, Paul. But and we're on the same boat. We're watching every day. My world stopped. What time was that? 2:00 every day, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah.
My world stopped no matter what I was doing at 2:00.
For almost 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah. And then there come a point where like shit ain't adding up. And then the mandates come out, and then the game started. And that became our starting point to why.
And we did why them, and they couldn't answer any of those questions.
What's this mean? What's that
we
mean?
were calling their hotline that they said to call. And then when Dum Dum would answer, we go, you need to get us to somebody else because we know you can't answer the question.
And what's funny to you people, what's funny
you people
is we used to get a supervisor right off the bat.
Yeah.
$50 a day storage. Oh boy. But we used to get a supervisor right off the bat, and then it's almost like, our two numbers called in. It was almost like a red flag come up.
Yeah, it was almost like calling Facebook.
Yeah, no shit. It was, I have a supervisor call you back, and then we call the next day. We're still waiting on that supervisor. But here's the thing: never one time, and I'll say this repeatedly. Never one time did we say this virus wasn't real.
Correct.
It's real. And actually it will mess you up and it will kill you. But where our conflict and my conflict come in is if you go to the CDC and read the numbers, the true numbers the CDC has, they're putting COVID deaths on heart attack, COVID-19 heart attack related, COVID-19 stroke related, COVID-19 pneumonia related, COVID-19 flu related. And then when you got down the line, and because remember, Doug, we used to look at this shit every day almost.
Yes.
You got down the line, true COVID deaths, COVID-19 only, was very minimal compared to the COVID-19. And we're not saying that COVID-19 didn't trigger. It can trigger a lot of things off inside your body. We know that. But, this Delta variant, I think, is it going to be, Is it going to be bad? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be bad. But, Doug, in my opinion, when we were at 3,000 cases a day before, we were seeing deaths go off the chart. We're not seeing that right now. Now, the next thing I got is a serious issue with what they're doing, especially in New York City, in the state of New York on September 16th, period.
Before you go there.
Okay.
Because we will talk about that in depth. You mentioned the nurses. You thank the nurses.
Yeah, we're going to go there first.
All right. Yeah, we're going to go there first because the nurses union decide, and this is in Ohio, they have billboards out. And the billboards are showing what the CEO got as a bonus, the COO, and look what the frontline workers got.
Jack shit.
Correct. And those are all over Columbus, and that's OSU Wexner Medical Center.
Yeah. They didn't get jack shit. Nothing. And here's the suck-ass part of this. I know Paul, Joe, Dean, a lot of people worked every day. I worked every day.
The thing is they're now being terminated or told not to come to work if they don't have the vaccine.
They didn't have the vaccine. Listen, last year, these same people, frontline workers, we were told, okay, let's go back. We were told the only mask that has a chance of fighting this is the N95 mask.
Right.
That was what we were told. The only mask was the N95 mask. And if everybody can remember, there was a shortage of N95 masks.
Right.
So these frontline workers, these nurses and doctors, Doug, that didn't get jack shit, no bonus, not even a Big Mac. These nurses and doctors were told, you got to continue wearing the same mask. Remember that?
Right.
And the problem was some of them were catching. We had doctors and we had nurses that didn't even go home to their families. We had doctors and nurses. I remember seeing these pictures, lived in a tent in their garage so they wouldn't be near their family.
Right. Yep.
But they showed up to work every day.
Yep.
And now what we're telling them, well, here's the thing. And this is basically what we're telling them in a nutshell. We know back last year, we made you wear the same mask. We get, day after day after day before we get you new ones. We made you work 16, 18 hours at a time because it was over. We knew you were going to eventually, your odds were low that you weren't going to get it. You're very low odds that you weren't going to. Your odds are very high you were going to catch it. We knew that. Just keep coming into work.
Was it an airborne virus?
Well, you tell me.
Well, I don't know because I got it, but I didn't go.
Has that been answered yet?
No. But if it's airborne, which
it's airborne,
I would assume the air gets through those masks, or you would suffocate and die.
Well, no, it's off the.
It's off the droplets.
Droplets that come out of your mouth and nose. So if it's off the droplets.
So if I don't spit on you, we're good. Okay.
Which is a bunch of bullshit. I thought, and I still think it's airborne. Okay. If you do research here, and here's why. Once again, you know, Doug, and I'll never disclose who it is. I have a person, a doctor in microbiology that I know very well. Who they're married to told me that the Delta variants with the studies going on right now is it ain't no longer, 6 feet for a certain amount of minutes. Yep. You just walk by somebody and you can catch this.
Okay, so that sounds more airborne.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to put mask back on somewhere.
So, yeah, well, the problem is we didn't give a shit. I mean, we did. the upper salon to bees didn't give a shit about our nurses and doctors. And I'm sorry, that's the way I feel. We didn't I can't see what it says, but anyways.
Let's see what the frontline workers look like this time around.
Right, but we didn't care then. The upper salons didn't care. They asked the doctors and nurses, EMTs, frontline workers,
We'll have this problem all night then.
They didn't care. They asked them to do it, and these people did it. All these frontline work, police, fire, EMS, doctors, nurses, and this is why I throw doctors and nurses in on this, Doug. When I say first responders, because you go to, you get picked up by a squad, you go to the hospital, your first people is doctors, ER doctors, and nurses. So they went without question. All right, stop and think of this. They went to work every day without question, Doug. They went. And now, isn't it convenient that after we put them through hell with the masks and everything else, isn't it convenient we say, well, you know what? If you ain't got the vaccine, you ain't got a job.
Right.
But if you go back to January, we told the American public on our little show, this was coming down the pike. This is what's going up in. They're bolstering this bill. They're going to vote on it. This is going to get you. Pay attention. And nobody paid attention. And when it passed through, we told the American public then, our 14 viewers or however reached.
You're pretty close.
Yeah. It's went through. Be ready. Because now your employer come to you and say, if you don't have this vaccine or you don't get it, you can be terminated. And then what, Doug, 3 months later? Oh, my God, did you see what they're doing?
Yeah, actually, it was somebody we know.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody we know now has been told, you're getting a vaccine.
Get it? Yep.
And
a little bit of trivia for you. And you can guess here if you'd like. What is the population of the U.S.?
356 million, I believe.
All right. Australia does know our number and knows it very well. But our president of the United States really, really, really made a big blunder, and they can't believe it. So here's this Australian news person showing a Biden clip. This is what they think of what's going on over here. Here we go.
Let's cross to Joe Biden for this important update on the US's vaccination rollout.
This new Delta variant wave of COVID-19 will be very different to be able to deal with than the one that was underway when I took office. The vaccination of the unvaccinated, and it's taking a needless toll on our country. We have roughly 350 million people vaccinated in the United States and billions around the world.
350 million people vaccinated in the United States, Joe? The population is only 330 million. Surely, given he has notes and auto cue and probably advisors in his ear, he'd correct that glaring falsehood. He certainly wouldn't repeat it, would he?
We have to get more people vaccinated. I said, well over, what's the number again? I have to remind myself, 350 million Americans have already been vaccinated. They're doing fine.
Oh dear, he doesn't even know the population of the country he's president of, let alone how many of them have been vaccinated. Good luck, America.
Oh, God.
And this is what we're going through.
So everybody's vaccinated according to him.
If we have 350 million vaccinated, we're okay. We're 100% compliant. We're 120% compliant according to her. You know, I actually thought we had 352 million people in the United States. I could be wrong. It might be
You were close.
332.
But you're not the president of the United States.
No,
and you
but
came within 20 million.
I thought the last census numbers that were read out, Doug, I thought we were at 352 or maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
You know, if you just go ask the average person, they're going to say 300 and some million people.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well,
when you're the president of the United States,
you should know how many fucking people you got.
Right. And you should know they're not all vaccinated.
50 million vote. I mean, 90 million voted. I don't know.
I don't know.
50 million voted for me, and the computers took the other 30. But this is a sad state, this son of a bitch. And let me ask a question. Here's my question. And it's a question, Facebook. I'm not making a statement in YouTube.
We got our scroller going.
Okay, so if it's so important to be vaccinated, why are people that are vaccinated catching this virus?
Well,
I mean, the Delta variant, they say Pfizer, I'm not sure about Moderna or whatever, but Pfizer is 83% effective against the Delta variant. Where the fuck did they come up with that number? I want to know where they come up with that number now that it just hit us. How'd they have that number 3 weeks ago, Doug, when this Delta variant's just come to us?
Well, how did they know the ratio that it would work? Remember, they said it's about 80% effective, or whatever they said. Now you need a booster shot.
Now you need a booster shot. I needed one. She wasn't even out of my arm, I don't think, told me that when I had mine. And that was back in what, Debbie? April we got them? Yeah. April. So my question, though, is where did they do the study to come up with the study and come up with the statement? 83%. Pfizer protects you 83% of the Delta variant. When the Delta variant just started coming around a month ago, Doug, to the United States, okay, so-called United States, but it wasn't even talked about 4 months ago.
You know, we could get into even more that because the whole catch and release going on down there at the border is just last night. They said that the month of July, they had contact with 200,000 people who come across the border. And now it's from everywhere. They just that's the entry.
Bringing them in from Afghanistan. Here's my next question. I'm gonna jump ahead of you, and I know you're gonna say, wait, but I'm doing it. So, I believe this week, if I want to go sit down in a restaurant in New York City, I got to show a vaccination card. Correct?
I did want you to go there. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
It starts this week, and in the state of any indoor in New York City right now, it starts this week. I don't have the date if it hasn't already started. Indoor event, restaurant, anything like that. Go to a museum, anything. You have to show a vaccination card to get in. September 16th in the state of New York, you're going to have to show a vaccination card. But out of the 27 Afghans are bringing over from because they helped us, Doug. How many of them are going to be showing a vaccination card?
Of the 27,000, God knows.
But I'm just asking, how many are showing? Out of the 200,000 they come in contact with on the border last month, and letting you know, how many had a vaccination card?
I just learned that I shouldn't call it the V card because when you Google that, it's not bringing me up what I need to know.
Oh, it's a venereal disease?
No, it's way different.
But that's my question. And here's my next thing, and I put it up on Facebook because Cuyahoga County's talking about going to it right now, Doug.
Who?
Cuyahoga County in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
My next question is this. How's come it's discrimination and racist to ask for an ID to vote? And everybody's asking this question, but it's not racist or discriminatory to have to show a vaccination card to go sit down and eat. Here's the next question I got on the left side, especially the far left. Remember my body, my choice on abortion? That's what they pushed for years down our throat. It's a woman's body. It's her choice if she wants to have abortion. Can't go into Giant Eagle. Yeah, and they're already starting that shit. I know, all over. But my body, my choice is what they pushed. It's a woman's body. It's her choice. A woman's body. It's her choice. Now, the same group that's pushed that down our throats for how many years, Doug, is the same one saying, you can't take shit unless you got a vaccination card. We want to see it. It's my fucking body. It's my choice. Well, no. And I got on Erie County Censor live Facebook feed. I got into it with this guy, and he goes, it's different. Well, how the fuck's it different? One, you're murdering, in my opinion. We get an abortion thing all day long. My opinion is all that matters to me. You can have your own opinion. It's murder. Okay. It especially when you get to a certain stage of it, it's murder, flat out. And you know what the fucking guy says? Typical left side response. When I said, no, it's the same thing. What, do you want to control women now? Oh, we're going to go with this card now. Okay, we're going to go. Don't even go there saying, oh, you chauvinistic. You just want to control. No, that ain't it. And then, he starts skirting around saying, well, that affects one person. It doesn't affect all of us. So you're telling me, and this is what I'm looking, this makes me disgusted to even consider, to think I'm still a registered Democrat. It makes me disgusted with the party, ashamed of the party even more, that you're sitting there telling me, well, as long as it affects that woman that's murder, and murder that baby, that doesn't spread anything to me. I'm okay. But if it's something that could spread, may affect me, then I'm on a different side of the fence.
The Me Too movement.
The Me Too movement. And you can't have it that way.
So if Ohio goes to that, which I got a feeling it's coming at some point.
It's coming in Ohio. I'm telling you.
Are you going to abide by that?
I got a card.
See?
But here's the point. I don't know if I will. Now, on the mask, I explained that last week. The whole mask thing, Doug. How I feel about that. That's affecting a small business. Now, for you to sit there and ask me, you need to show me a vaccination card or else you ain't coming in. Well, you know what? Fuck you. I ain't coming in.
Well, let me tell you, and I was listening to this because I have a little bit of a drive on Saturday nights, Sunday mornings. So I have time to listen to the radio.
Just a little bit.
So I'm listening to this. And in New York, it's especially the smaller businesses. We're not the police. We're not going to do your job for you and force people to get vaccinated because you want to force me to make sure that they have a vaccination card. The other thing is who does it hurt in the long run? That business, because that business is going to have to turn people away if they don't have their V card and they lose money. Because if you get turned away, hey, listen, and you know this because it happened to us. We haven't been back to that place.
Not one freaking time have we been back to Rapid Fire Pizza. I'll name the business. Name the business. And Doug, you might as well get into that now that we brought it up, because it was a bullshit deal.
Yeah.
And the manager, I will say, the manager wrote you back, or corporate, whoever, and was kissing your ass in it. And I don't give a shit. You give me free pizza the rest of my life. I'm not going back in there. We walked in. Me, Beaver, Spear, and Doug.
Before you go there, we went there every week for a year.
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. And before the races, we would stop there, and then COVID hit, and blah blah blah. Then we go in. Go ahead.
So we walk in. The mask mandate wasn't mandated yet. It was mandated in business or whatever. But we walk in. Me, Beaver, Spear, and Doug. Mm-hmm. Free racers. We used to go there at 12:30. Me and Doug used to go, and that's when we discuss what that day's event, And Beaver, I wanted to meet him there. There was something with tech I want to talk to him about. So we walk in. None of us got masks on. We order. Remember that, Doug? We order. And I can't remember that the woman that was at the gas register looked down.
Right.
And she goes, "Hey, this is after we fucking order. You got to have a mask on." We don't have one. And I don't care. You got to, we're going to get this. Go sit down and eat. Or you can't, She refused. Remember that? You got to get them. You got to get a mask, or we can't serve you.
Right. So when you turned around and looked at everybody's table, nobody had one on because they were eating. So it was just
the guy cooking back in the back. Doug, the guy in the back didn't. Remember, the guy in the back didn't have one on at work there.
Right. And it was more about the way it was handled than what it was, what the issue was. But at the time, masks were encouraged.
Suggested.
You needed to have a mask.
Highly suggested.
Yes.
Not a mandate.
Right. And at the time, they also said, you're going to have people who can't wear a mask for whatever reason. If you see somebody with a mask, just assume that there's a reason that they can't wear a mask.
Right. If they come in and they didn't have a mask, assume there was a reason medically why. I really don't want you asking them why, quote unquote, out of Mike DeWine's mouth. Am I wrong?
Correct.
So we said, okay, we won't be back. Walked out, went somewhere else. I don't even know where we went, but Doug wrote that place in corporate a letter and received a nice letter back. I will say it was a nice return letter. I don't give a shit. I'll never. If that's the last restaurant in Sandusky, I will still be eating bologna sandwiches instead of eating there. Because it wasn't so much. Listen, it wasn't so much that maybe that store had already mandated masks or whatever. There might have been a sign up. I don't know. I can't tell you if a sign was up or not. It's how it was handled.
And there was nobody in front of us or behind us. It was clear path. We were with our group. There was nobody in front of us.
It was how it was handled. And this is what people are going to run into in other small businesses. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you're saying, especially with this vaccine card thing. I will never go back there, and you're going to start having this happen to small businesses. And guys like Dean, especially, he owns Big D's Pizza.
Yeah.
It's an onslaught fought.
Perfect example. Gene, you're going to become the police and the whole regulator.
Judge, you're going to become the police,
of your customers.
Jury, and judge.
You're going to piss them off, just like what happened to us, and you're going to lose business over it. And they're not compensating you for being their B card police.
I'm not showing it. I'm going to tell you something.
Okay, so you are going to make a stand.
I'm not showing it. I stand my ground there. I won't go in. I'm not going to argue. I'm just not going in. I'm not going in. And I just had dinner with my parents a couple hours ago. My dad brings up across the table. I think he was trying to pick an argument with me, and I almost went for it, didn't I, Dad? But talks about, how many guns they confiscated last month and police confiscated last month in Chicago? You know how many? And
go ahead and bring that up, because I was going to say something about that too.
It was, I don't know, an ungodly number. You got the number then, Doug?
No, I don't. I have a different number.
60,000 or whatever the hell it was, okay? And I said, so, you're right. So we take the guns. And we should have show a card everywhere we go and everything else. I says, you know, this happened before, and it was called Germany in 1940s, 30s and 40s. See where that went. And that's what we're getting to. And that's what we're getting to. It's like the big lie they told us about the antibodies, Doug. Antibodies are only staying in your system 90 days.
He's got the greatest baloney. I don't know where he gets it, but it's really good.
I get it. Bay meats.
Bay meats. Okay.
But, you know, it's like antibodies, 90 days. Remember, they pushed that 90 days. Antibodies only stay in 90 days. And it was a lie. It's a lie.
All right. While you're talking about guns in Chicago, and I don't know which weekend it was just recently, there was 70 people shot because they were talking about, on my way home last night, talking about the lawlessness that's going on and the defunding the police, and 70 people were shot. They did an interview with President Trump, former President Trump, and he said, you know, isn't it a shame that 70 people were shot in Chicago in one weekend, and some of them people died? We didn't have that many people shot or killed in Afghanistan when we're fighting a war.
He's a moron. Biden said that?
No. Trump said that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, we did.
Well, in a certain period of time.
Okay.
The last year or so.
But Doug, get down to it. Chicago has one of the toughest gun laws in the United States, where they restrict citizens from guns.
Well,
and to get to your comment, Jeff, this is what they want them to think. Why does anyone need to have a gun? Because one, it's all right. It's all right to own one. Two, to protect your property. If criminals know that every house in my neighborhood is under a gun act and does not have a weapon of any kind or gun to protect their property, what do you think's going to happen? Let me tell you something. I don't give a shit what they try to say. If you want a gun, you get a gun. I can take you to parts of Cleveland and buy any kind of gun you want. Any kind. I can probably take you to Sandusky in certain areas and buy any kind of gun you want. It's called the black market. Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's called the market.
It's called the underworld market, or whatever you want to call it now. You know, I'm calling it the black market. Okay.
That's bad.
So they're always going to have weapons. They're always going to have them. Period.
So I'm glad we're on that, because you're going to make me bring this up way quicker than I wanted to, but I'll bring it up. First of all, I want to go back to this comment. HIPAA law, it does not exist with the V.
The
card.
COVID-19 vaccine card, it does not exist, Randy. In that, I think, Doug, if you go back and look, I could be wrong. It might have been another one. In that bill that was passed about your employer can mandate.
Yes, and it doesn't violate
the vaccine, or you can be terminated. In that bill, it states the HIPAA law, in our terms, basically you take HIPAA law and shove it in your ass. It don't exist with this. And that's pretty much what it, in our terms, is what it says.
Okay, since we're talking about guns and police and all that, I'm going to just play this and let you listen to it.
Oh, boy.
And then I'll explain it if you need me to explain it. And then
I'll smile on his face. He's something that I'm probably going to go, ah!
So here is, I think her name is Cori Bush. She's a representative from some state. I don't even know. Okay, here we go.
I'm going to make sure I have security, because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety.
See, it's fucking bullshit. So we got these asshole politicians like that. She needs to go back to grammar school.
Right.
Okay, she needs to go back to grammar. How they get elected is way beyond my comprehension that I can't. But what this is the same thing that fucking drunk Pelosi's saying, and a bunch of them. We need to defund the police. We need to defund it. But I'm beefing up my security. Listen, we need to defund the police for you common folk. But guess what? I'm going to have 50 people around me wherever I go carrying the highest weapons there is. And we need to take your guns, but I'm going to have guns guarding me. You want to impress me, bitch? Walk down East Cleveland at midnight without any of your security guards or anything and tell them, well, we're taking guns from everybody. You shouldn't have one. Why do you have a weapon? You walk down East Cleveland.
I would call the police, but they're off.
And that's the same bitch. That's the same stupid bitch and mentality of thinking. You're absolutely right, Doug. That's the same idiot son of bitches that are saying that are the first ones to call the police for help. And she's probably got Washington, D.C. police. The D.C. police is her security detail.
Yes. Yep.
So defund. You want to impress me? Defund them first.
So I'm going to play it again. And what the question was to her is, how can you support defunding the police, but you've got this entourage that protects you? And listen to what she says about why she has protection and we don't.
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety.
She can suck my ass. I ain't sucking nothing up, Doug. I'm not sucking nothing up. Listen, everything she says is contradictory to what she's saying.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
She's a member.
I don't have to go to work. There's not people to depend on me.
She's a part of the squad.
But what I'm saying is, I don't have to go to work. There's people don't have to go to work. People don't depend. The only people that we depend on are the people in Capitol Hill. That's what she's saying. Listen, what a fucking moron.
Power and privilege.
How the fuck she get up more than tires tennis shoes? She can't be that bright. Does she? Well, she probably
Velcro.
has one of her security guards tie them for her. And whose money is paying for that?
Well,
Suck it up. Suck it up. I
Mm-hmm.
suck shit because our money's paying for that detail.
Right. No matter which way you look at it.
So here we are.
Pay her wages.
Let's go back to the very beginning of the show. Stop for a second, Doug. We'll go back. When I just said in the very beginning of the show, I was into it with a very far left guy, it seemed, on Erie County Censor Live. Okay. It circled right around until it was, well, it might affect me.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's going to affect me, then I don't give a shit. It's wide open. None of the stuff that I stood for an hour ago matters. When it might affect me, there's been attempt on my lives. Well, there's been attempt on a lot of people's lives. So, I got a wound in my back from getting stabbed in a bar one day. That's an attempt. Should I have 20 police follow me around every day, Doug?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So, you're right. Defund. You want to start? Start at the top. Lead by example. Defund the security detail at the Capitol Hill. Well, we can't do that, Larry. Oh, because Trump led an insurrection on January 6th.
So they need protected.
And if you guys go back and watch that and want to relive that, the security detail January 6th, pretty goddamn shitty because they just stood there. Come on in, folks. Wally World's open today.
They
there you
got
go.
out of the way.
And me and Doug, and just so everybody knows, me and Doug have different opinions on what should have happened that day. Way different opinions.
Yeah.
Me personally, let me tell you this right now. You rush them fences, you rush them gates. In my opinion, you're committing domestic terrorism. You should be shot.
Yeah, so just blow them all away.
You should be shot. You try to rush Capitol Hill, Washington, whatever. You try to rush like that, it's domestic terrorists right then and there. Period.
So if you were there and you were at Trump's rally, and then he says go down there, and you all go down there, and then a group of people start pushing, you're in the back, you're just getting blown away because you're part of that group.
No, I'm not rushing the gate.
But
there's no difference. Listen, there's no difference. There's no difference, Doug. We can't, if you have that opinion, you can't bitch about what Antifa did all last year. There's no difference. You went from a protest to a riot. The minute you went through them gates, you're no longer protesting.
Right, but
it doesn't matter if it was Antifa, Trumpsters, who did it. The minute you crossed them gates, it was no longer a protest. In my eyes, it was domestic terrorism.
So just because you're associated with it because you went down there,
you're not associated. You're associated with a protest if you go down
right
there.
Right.
If you didn't go through the gates and you stood back and said this isn't right, you're still protesting.
So you are saying the ones that came through the door, they should just
yes, absolutely,
with a machine gun
and a heartbeat. They were committing domestic terrorism at its highest, in my opinion.
Whose house is it?
I know that. It's our house, but there's got to be some kind of order. There has to be some kind of order. And I can tell you this right now. There's gates there for a reason. There's gates there for a reason. And once you cross that gates and rush the gates like they did, you committed domestic terrorism. That's on the United States Capitol. You committed domestic terrorism.
So the average person who walks in there, and most of them did walk in there, when they got beyond that lobby area, that's when it all turned really bad. And they went into people's offices and all that. That I 100% agree with.
Going through the gate.
Not going through there, but
going through the gate. The minute you cross the gate,
there wasn't a gate.
They had gates, surrounding gates. They had surrounding fence. The minute you went through an area you weren't supposed to go through, you committed domestic terrorism.
And I agree with you. I believe that is in there. Take back your government.
Yeah.
I don't know that the way they did it was exactly the way.
Let me tell you something. It's a fine line, Marty. It's a time. Then if you take that route, then you're going to say that Trump was doing something because he was a tyrant. Trump was in office. He wasn't out yet. Trump still ran this country.
He did, but it was Congress that was being the issue where most things were having. Paul, what do you disagree with?
Probably disagrees with me.
Most people do.
And that's fine.
And see, Paul thinks we should take over.
I can disagree now.
The
way things are. But what I'm saying is, at that time, the way it was done, there is no difference to what went down there to what went down in the cities across the United States with Antifa. You went from a peaceful protest to a riot. Tell me I'm wrong.
But you got people that were caught up in there.
I don't give a shit. You got some people who are caught up in the Black Lives Matter movement
that just got caught up in it, and people were pushing. You're getting blown away.
So you had people that went to these Antifa and Black Lives Matter protests that got caught up when they started tearing shit up. We blame them too. We blame. I'm not. Listen, I'm not in agreement with what went on across the United States with the Black Lives Matter Antifa riots. I don't agree with it at all. But there is some innocent people there. But we associated it because of them parts. Is here they come. They're going to riot. We didn't call them protests. We said they're coming to riot. Okay. There's no difference.
All right.
The minute you cross that line, and went in there, it was no longer a protest, it was a riot. Yeah, you're right. You're saying I agree with Jeff. Jeff, that's right. You had no business doing what you did. And the minute you crossed that line the way you did, and what'd they do? They went in there and drank a beer. Look where I'm at. Nancy Pelosi's
Yeah, and
office.
see, that's the part that
you know what I'm saying?
Was
you committed my domestic terrorist act to go in and say I'm in Nancy Pelosi's office? Why the fuck would you even want to sit in there and get a picture taken in there?
You can get bugs.
Traitorous, whatever. The biggest traitor in the United States, in my opinion. So, I knew this was going to set us off the minute we started talking because we disagree on what should have went on that day. Mm-hmm. We disagree on it. And I'll never change my opinion that it went from a peaceful protest to a domestic terrorist act that day in a riot. Period. Never will I change my opinion. I don't care if it was under Trump, if it was under Biden, if it was under Obama, if it was under Pelosi, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. I don't give a shit. The minute you cross the line, it became a domestic terrorist act. It was a riot. It was a riot. Now, you can argue all you want on who actually went in, the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, what I'm saying is some people got caught up in it, and
well, then people should have known better to go through that line.
You say that now, but if it was somebody
I'm telling you right now,
if it was somebody
I knew that did it, I'd be telling them the same thing. Shame on
No, you wouldn't. If they said, "Hey, listen, I was going down there with them," all of a sudden everybody started pushing, and what am I supposed to do? Just drop to the ground?
Jeff Milam was there. Jeff Milam, one of my old business agents, was there. He didn't go in there. He didn't go in.
Probably because he was where he needed to be. But
he could have very easily went in.
Remember, they all went up there together, and then it just seemed that a whole flow just started pushing in.
Well, they all went to Seattle
so just
together.
Mow them all down with the machine
They
gun.
all went to Minneapolis together as Black Lives Matter, and all of a sudden shit started breaking out, so it's okay. They all went to Seattle together in the chop zone, and shit started happening, so it's okay.
Okay, President.
We can't say, no, seriously, we can't say that's wrong. And then turn around, and because it happened here with us, well, it's okay because they got carried away. It's the same fucking thing, man.
So Paul said, "Tell me how to stand up." Then
I don't know, but we gotta. It's gonna come to what happened. Well, we got more reasons. At the time, our government was not. They weren't tyrants, Doug. They were not tyrants. Shit was being handled and everything else. We still had control. You can't say that there's nobody in the Republican Party can say that it was out of control because the Republican Party still had control of the Senate.
I mean, think about it. Our representatives are getting ready to pass a bill for weirdo cat lovers in Cleveland license plates.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, Marty, you're right, but there has to be because you do have some whack jobs. Do I think I got to watch how I say this because I probably could get in trouble. Do I think any politician or anybody should be assassinated? No, not in the United States. I think, I'll rephrase it. I think child molesters and what pedophiles do with some children, yeah, absolutely. They should be shot on scene. But people at our Capitol and our White House, doesn't matter how bad you disagree with how they're running the country, trying to put us in communism. No, I don't think they should be assassinated. I don't believe, and I know you're not saying that, but the problem is you got whack jobs that if you didn't have a fence and didn't have control, that would go in and just actually start shooting up the whole place. I mean, We own the Capitol. We own this government. We own the White House. They work for us. But there's certain ways you got to go about handling shit.
Not anymore.
Russ, no, we don't anymore. In a matter of 6 months, 8 months, we don't. We don't.
You're right.
From January 20th, not January 6th, January 20th on, this government's gotten out of control to the point we're communist. We're so fucking communist. We invite China, Russia, Venezuela, and Cuba in to do an investigation about racism in the United States.
Paul's challenging you.
On what? What's the question? How do you take back the country? How do we stand up? The protest, different ways. Do I think, listen, I think there might be a time for that, Paul. This might not be the answer you want to hear. Did I think January 6th was the time to stand up like that? Absolutely not. Not to go in there, especially without any plan, to go in there and take pictures.
You're right about that. I don't know that they really had a plan, but you're also the one that says there could be a civil war if the election results.
Is there a time and place that we have to do that? Maybe, yes. January 6th wasn't a time or place, Doug. And to go in there without any agenda or plan, but to go in and get your picture taken at Nancy Pelosi's desk was the biggest fucking joke there ever was.
Well, they were trying to disrupt the count or whatever was going on there. Certification of the election. That's what they were trying to do.
They disrupted it for what?
Which they did.
24 hours.
Yeah.
Did you honestly think it wasn't going to happen the way you did this?
Do you believe that there was an issue with the election?
Yeah, I still do.
So that was part of that because everybody thought, even at that point, that there was an issue.
So let's go.
So they went to.
So let's stand up, go in, and disrupt that. How you disrupt?
You want to be more organized.
Hours. You know what I'm saying? You're going.
Come on, guys, be a little bit more organized.
It's almost like we did this, and honestly, it's like they did this. Fuck, we're in. What do we do now? Well, let's drink a beer and get our picture taken. Oh, that's it.
Well, there was something to do because
federal felony.
Everybody ran away.
And this is how fucking stupid some of them are, Paul. I'm committing a federal felony against our country. And I'm going to take my picture and put it on Facebook.
Well, everybody ran away.
Yeah, you know what, Paul? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have that answer. I don't have an answer you're probably going to want to hear. But sooner or later, if we're going the direction we're going, which we weren't, we're trying to disrupt the certifications, okay? But at the time, we were still under Republican control in the Senate and a Republican president. So, yeah, we were. January 6th.
Pelosi was the majority leader. The Democrats.
Republican control in the Senate. We didn't have a Senate. Senate's the final one.
Senate, yeah, correct.
Senate, we're under Republican control. Congress do all they want, but Senate's got to approve it. Am I wrong? Every impeachment trial went from Congress to the Senate too. Senate had to approve all this. But what I'm saying is, when and where, I don't know. I don't know. But our government wasn't where it's at right now 8 months later, 7 months later, 9 months later, 8 months later. It isn't where it's at now in 8 months.
So
I don't know. I know one thing. If they keep coming,
what are you doing?
I'm getting all shook up. I hit my cord. Stop and think of this, though. Just stop and think, and being reasonable. Now, 8 months ago, we weren't looking at vaccine cards to go sit down and eat. 8 months ago, we were trying to control the border. 8 months ago, we were, we're coming out with the vaccine. We're trying to open places up, this, that, and the other. 8 months ago, the country was still running pretty good, Doug. Until January 20th of 2021, everything went downhill.
I agree with you.
4 hours after the inauguration, and it's been going downhill. And I didn't make the comment. Biden made the comment. And there's something you don't hear much about anymore, and I'd like to know the number because I haven't checked even. Biden made the comment last year around this time, last month. You cannot control a country by executive order. When you do, that's called a dictatorship. How many executive orders has that man done?
A lot.
In 8 months. In 8 months.
A lot. Tammy, the Bilderberg Group, I bring that up every time somebody says that. One world order, that's exactly what they want.
And if you don't believe that, why would we invite, and this is going to just stick in my craw for a while. Why would we invite 4 countries?
Which countries?
China, Russia, Venezuela, and Cuba that have terrible humanitarian rights violations against them into our country to investigate racism?
To see if our country, how we're handling it, how we're handling racism.
Yeah, to do investigation.
Yeah, so they can tell the whole world.
Do I think it's about time that we have a stand up? Yeah, I sure do. But how, when, and where, I don't know.
A civil war is not going to be...
it's not going to last long. Because you got a group of people over here that know how to hunt, fish, survive. You got a group of people over here that won Call of Duty last night, so they think they can do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like what I put up on Facebook, you know, with Clint Eastwood and Telly Savalas, you know, the picture of that little snot-nosed bitch. We're going to start a revolution. You can't even work a 40-hour week. Don't know what fucking bathroom you want to go into, you know, and start crying if you have to eat meat. And that's almost a fact. They don't even, you know, some of these snot-nosed fucks that are telling us how we're so screwed up was eating Tide Pods 3-4 years ago, Doug.
Right.
We had a problem with these kids eating fucking Tide Pods.
You're right.
I mean, did we not teach them to read? To get to 16 years old, to read the warning on Tide where it says, do not consume, call Center of Poison Control. Yep. And now we're, you know, so if a civil war ever broke out, it's not going to last long. Question that you're going to have is this: if a civil war breaks out, what side's the military going to be on? Because technically the military work for us.
But they have a commander-in-chief.
And what you're going to see if this breaks out is another Russia. Remember when that happened?
Yep.
It all went, and then the military guys split, and this, that, and the other, and it was just... And hopefully we don't ever have to see that. We might have to in order to straighten shit out. I don't know. I wish I knew. For my grandbabies and my kids and all you people out there, your grandbabies, kids, whatever, I pray to God we never have to. But I can tell you this right now. I go to night, every night, and I say a quick prayer for God to come down and straighten the shit out that's going on. You know, and I'm not going to get into too religious side of this, but I tell you what, the Bible's... Read the Bible. She's laying it out. Yeah, it's following the steps of the Bible, Doug. It ain't too far off what he said was going to happen. It's there, you know, and whatever. We'll move on, but we got way off base, and that's fine because it's good debate. I mean, but I don't agree with what happened January 6th. I don't care how we're going to make a stand someday. I don't know. Hopefully it'll never have to be, but I feel it might be needed someday. I don't know. How far am I willing to go? I can tell you how far I'm willing to go to make sure my grandbabies and I'd have a life close to what I had. Yeah, I'd die right now.
Where's that happening at, Randy?
Yeah, I've seen that. Where the hell was that? I did see that. You ain't gonna see I did see that. That can't remember. You have to look that up. You know. But I'm just saying. I hope we never have to see that.
Michigan. That's a good place for him.
But, yeah, I wonder who's doing it. I wonder if the Michigan Air Guard, they got a loose cannon for governor and make a good wife to Joe Biden. But moving on. I hope we never have to see that. But to answer your question, Jeff, yes. If it meant my grandbabies will have close to the life I had and freedoms, yeah, in a second. I'm 53 years old. I tell you this, at 53, I led a life I should be 100, Doug. I'm one of them guys that's coming in, squealing sideways, dust flying, jumping on the car, gonna say, "What a ride, man!" You know what I mean?
Right.
I ain't one coming in softly with pillows saying, "Am I okay on the landing?" I'm flying in, and hopefully I see bright lights and not red flames. I mean, I got a lot to answer to when I go to them gates. Trust me, but it is what it is. But moving on, Doug. What's the next subject?
You want to move on to critical race theory?
Yeah, great. Here we fucking go.
So let me see how long this thing is. This is about 3 minutes. So here's a lady who went to school, wanted to know a little bit about what the curriculum is and how it.
Is she white or black?
She appears to be a white lady.
Well, she's wrong right off the get-go, but go ahead.
So she could not get anywhere with the school, so she put in public record requests. Now the teachers union is filing a lawsuit against her in an injunction to stop her from getting all this information because it violates the teacher's privacy.
They can suck my ass. Are you fucking kidding me?
Hold on.
It violates the teacher's privacy of what they're teaching our kids
in a public school.
Oh, this ought to be good. This is why you were laughing earlier when I said, "What are we talking? What are you gonna?" Oh, nothing.
Nothing really. There's nothing going on. So let me play this.
Hi, Ainsley.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Can you hear it?
So why did you want to be so brave? There's so many parents that are concerned about this, but they don't want to speak out because they're fearful of retaliation.
You're right. It's a real risk to be retaliated against. As you can see, I am being retaliated against. I wanted to speak out because I have to fight for my daughter's education. And I'm in a special position. I don't have a job to lose because I'm a stay-at-home mom. My daughter is just starting out in school. So, if I have to send her to private school, I will. And I think it's really important for parents to start asking more questions because the more parents that ask more questions, the harder it will be for schools to retaliate against a lot of parents.
What information were you asking for?
So when I enrolled my daughter in school, I wanted to know if they were doing anything with gender theory or anti-racism. I called the principal and I was told that they don't refer to kids as boys and girls. They have a common practice of doing this. I was also told that they refrain from using gender terminology in general. In terms of anti-racism, I was told that kids in kindergarten are asked what could have been done differently at Thanksgiving. And this struck me as a way to shame children for their American heritage. When I asked more questions, I wasn't really getting clear or meaningful answers. And so I said, well, let me see the curriculum. I got a lot of runaround. I couldn't see the curriculum in school. I asked for a tour. I still haven't had a tour after over 30 days later. And finally, the principal and the school committee told me to submit a public records request, which is called an APRA request. That stands for Access to Public Records Act. The school district has a link on their website where you can go and type in the documents that you want to see. I got the curriculum. I didn't see any evidence of gender theory or anti-racism in it, but I knew that they were still teaching it somehow in schools. So I realized that I could use the request system to get answers to my other questions. And so I started submitting my questions in the form of public records requests. I had a lot of questions, so I had a lot of public records requests. It didn't seem to be a problem. The school district was complying within the statutory time period to give me my documents. They have to respond within 10 days. They can ask for an extension if it's a particularly large, request. My APRA requests in an email. Now
they're meeting tonight to determine if they're going to sue you.
Correct.
So let me get this out of here.
How can they sue her?
Well, that's what it's all about.
She's allowed. It's a public school, correct? She's allowed to ask for public records and what the curriculum's being taught.
Okay,
This is not a communist state yet where you can't, you have every right if you send your kid to a school.
Okay, and in the temporary restraining order that she did get to stop her from public records requests, it does say that they believe it's an invasion of privacy on the teacher's behalf.
How?
Well, I don't know
for what you're teaching in a school. There's no invasion of privacy,
right? Because you should be able to go in there, sit in the classroom anytime you want.
There's no invasion of privacy. What they teach is supposed to be open record to the public, especially in a public school system. If you even go to a private school, you have the right to know what they're teaching your child. This is just out of fucking hand. This CRT, they don't want you to know, and then the next thing you know, what's going to happen 6 months later, your kid's going to come home and they're going to hate you because you're white. And the question I keep asking, here's the question I keep asking, and nobody can answer this fucking shit. And it just torques me to no end. What do I tell my 2 little grandbabies that are half black, half white, Doug? What do I tell them? What do we teach them? Well, today, get up, look at the mirror, and smile and say yes, because today you're going to identify with your half black side. Tomorrow, get up and hate yourself because you're white. What are they going to do? They get 5 cookies in front of them. What are they going to take 3 of them, pull them over to the right? What's that for? Well, the white side of me just gave the black side of me 3 cookies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm. It's funny, but it's not. What do you teach them? What do you, what do you teach? Listen, reality is this. 40 years ago, it wasn't as common to have interracial marriages, relationships, or whatever. Okay.
Right.
It wasn't as common. Today, it's nothing. Okay. White men with black women with, black men with white women. You watch TV. The commercials are right there. They put it on everything you see. Yeah, you're right. But what I'm saying, Jeff, is under what they're trying to teach our kids. I'm giving,
because they're going to come home with questions.
Yeah, I'm giving examples. Just watch TV. It's there, interracial, whatever, and I'm okay, whatever. But what do we don't even have, okay, fill out an application. And this is where I'm stuck at. Fill out an application. Caucasian, Black or African American, Asian, Latino. Where is the one that, what do they put down? Where is the one that says interracial, black and white? Where's that one, Doug? It's not on there. So what do they put down? We can't even get that fucking right for what 2021. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now we're trying to teach CRT and this stupid shit. And now the schools are trying to hide it. And they're telling a parent of a child going to public school, we're going to sue you because you're infringing on our Privacy Act. What Privacy Act? What? Because I don't believe, I believe there's male and female. That's my opinion. That's my right to believe that. Mm-hmm. Because you might not believe in that. You think that it's okay to teach my kid that? You don't make that fucking decision about my kids. I do. I do, Doug. It's just like my daughter and my son each have 2 kids. I don't make them final decisions on them kids. My son and daughter do. That's not the school's right. That's not the school's right. A court to say I can get public information that I'm requesting because harm teachers. The only way it's going to harm teachers is if they're trying to teach your kids something they don't want you to know about.
Right.
Which is, in my opinion, criminal. Criminal. And you're right. They're not teaching them anymore, Marty. They're not teaching them anymore. It's just like this stupid fucking act they got up about voting that's been real silent lately. 16-year-olds can vote. How convenient that the teachers unions and them are pushing for this too and backing this. How convenient, because I use the example. We got a levy we got to pass. Guess what? You got 16-year-olds in high school, 17, 18-year-olds in high school. Guess what? They come to school every day. What's getting jammed down their throat, and what are they going to vote? They don't give a shit what the parents say. They're being taught in school. Sometimes teachers see the kids, and I bet 80% of the time, teachers see your kids more than you do. Because you're working, paying taxes to pay the stupid fucking shit going on here.
Right.
There's a thought. Like I said, they don't even know what fucking bathroom to go in. They're eating Tide Pods, and here's one to think about, people. Here's one to think about, and I've said it a million times. You can't drink a beer till you're 21 now. They're trying to push till you're 21 before you can buy a pack of cigarettes, right, Doug?
Mm-hmm.
Was 18, 19 for beer. Now it's 21. You can't drink because what's their thing? Well, you're not quite mature enough to handle it. But it's okay to vote.
And it's okay to go overseas.
Yeah, hey, you know what? You graduated from high school at 18. You can't drink a beer, but guess what? Come on in.
Here's a rifle.
We'll send you over to the Middle East and get shot at. Go protect the country. You go protect the country at 18, but you ain't mature enough to have a beer, pal, or buy a pack of smoke. Sorry. Go over and sit with Pepe Le Pew on that one.
Yes, they are trying to get it in at 16.
We covered that
a couple months ago.
Before you were watching, Tammy. About 3-4 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, the act come up. Not the act, or the bill.
House resolution bill.
Yeah, the House resolution. We used to know the numbers on it, but they changed.
They change them
numbers. Trust me. Just like the Gun Law Act, it's changed 3-4 times, and we're still having a hard time finding out what it is now.
Yes,
and you can't find it now. Doug's tried, and it's one of them deals. And just like that, the House resolution bill went up 4 months ago, and it's tabled right now. Whatever the fuck that means. It means that probably tomorrow night at midnight, the Congress is going to say yes, and at 6 a.m, Senate will say yes, just like they did on
But if you live in Cleveland, we're working hard to get you the Weirdo Cat Lovers of Cleveland license plate.
This is what our Ohio legislation's.
They're working on that diligently right now.
And we don't have a problem. You know, remember, people, they shut the state of Ohio down for 350 cases a day. Remember that, Doug? 350 cases a day.
Yes.
Just so anyone wants to know, the exact number yesterday was 2,317. What's that tell you? And we're working on weirdo cat people of Cuyahoga County license plates. That's kind of fucking bills we got on the floor in Ohio right now.
There's some
makes a lot of sense. We have nothing else to, you know. We have there's a couple other, you know, fucking
sugar cookie that they are actually voting on that.
We got to have the Ohio cookie, sugar cookie. I mean,
not the Buckeye. Important. It's going to be the sugar cookie.
Not the fact that the fucking small business took such a hit that we lost so many in the last 18 months over this shit. We're not, you know what, things have calmed down. Things are open. Cedar Point's open. The islands are open. You know, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Cleveland Browns, they played the game today. It was packed. Don't worry about what happened to our small business the last 18. Let's vote on a fucking sugar cookie. Jesus Christ. And then they wonder why we get pissed. Let's vote on a fucking sugar. We read, I don't know if you guys watched this show about 4 shows ago, 3. We read everything that was going to be voted on. It's at in the Ohio Congress right now. That's a bill that's going up to be talked about and discussed. Not one of them has not one of them things that we read, 5, 6 of them, had anything to do with the virus, the small business that are in trouble, right. What we're going to do this time around. No, we're voting on fucking sugar cookies. I wonder if it passed.
No, it's still making its way through.
What the hell's wrong with the Buckeye?
Maybe that's why it's stalled. Somebody's
pissed off.
Yeah. What do you mean sugar cookie? I got diabetes.
Hey, I don't give a fuck. We had 2,300 cases yesterday. I want the Buckeye in here, goddammit, not the sugar cookie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what the fuck is going on?
And I'm a dog lover, and I'm a weirdo. Why can't I have my license plate?
I got 5 dogs. I don't understand why they ain't got a license plate for me. Go out and get whatever the fuck you want printed on. As long as you pay the money, you can have whatever you want on a sumbitch. We're actually, Marty, got discussion on the Ohio floor over stupid fucking shit like this.
Yeah.
And these times.
They go to work and they talk about the sugar cookie.
And these times. What they should be discussing is the committee, when they restricted DeWine's party, that should be open discussion in the House. There's steps that they're going to take. They don't want you to know, though. They don't want you to know. We're going to get a press conference. Well, starting Tuesday, because I'm going to give you 24 hours to get your shit in order. We're closing daycare, schools, and whatever down. And that's pretty much what they did the last time, Doug.
Yep.
This is Friday, and you have till Tuesday to get your affairs in order because I'm closing this down. I'm closing this. And I did it step by step. Well, yeah, you give fucking parents 4 days, shut everything down. Before we had help there financially, Doug. You remember that?
Right, yep.
Before we had help financially for, middle income, lower income people that are trying to bust their ass. You want to know why people ain't going back to work? Because they're waiting for the second wave. They're sitting back going, yeah, I remember last time we played this game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, like my Mimi said, you know what? Fuck you, put me on unemployment. I'll sit this round out. I worked the last round. And whatever. What's the next topic? I don't even want to fucking...
Yeah, well, the only other one that's open that you could talk about if you want, or we can stop here, but is Cuomo.
Governor Homo. I said Cuomo.
Yeah, okay.
Why do you misunderstand me?
I didn't. I thought I must be thinking.
I said Governor Homo. Well, he really ain't. I mean, he's grabbing girls' asses and shit.
Yeah, he is. Now, did you hear his latest? Why? First of all, he said the stupidest thing. He said, "I do that to everybody. I'm like that with everybody." That's the first thing he said that really didn't go over well.
It's okay then.
Then he said it's because of how he was brought up. He kisses men, women on the hands, on the cheeks, whatever. And
let him kiss me.
He said he hugs. You know, he also said that it's because of his Italian heritage.
Oh, so there we go. I was waiting for the Italians to come into play.
Yeah. By the way, one of the other bills that we forgot to say is they're going to designate All-American Soapbox Derby as a gravity racing program.
There you go, Marty.
See, busy.
Soapbox Derby cars, gravity racing program.
That's what it's going to be.
We didn't know what the fuck it was for the last 100 years, but now we know.
Right.
Well, we don't know yet because they might have voted on it by now, but you know, that was one of the things we had to discuss. It has no motor or anything, and it goes down a hill, but you know, we're so naive and so stupid as a people that we don't know that it runs on gravity. You know, when you go downhill, that's called gravity. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that is funny.
Thank God for the Ohio Congress and Senate, or I've been really confused.
Let us know.
Driving out by the shoreway, seeing where the soapbox derbies go down by 48. I don't understand what that is. They come uphill?
To defy gravity.
Yeah, you know, what's gravity? Oh, I get
it. So it kind of makes motion for it to go down. So the other thing, and I don't know, I don't see it in Ohio. I do see something in Ohio, but I haven't looked at this bill. But they're going to do away with the A through F grading system because that's too much.
It's discriminatory.
It's going to be S or U.
Satisfactory or unsatisfactory. So, you know, the grade point you used to get into college, we're all going to have the same one.
You have a S minus. Oh, you have a U plus.
Yeah. Oh, you're getting better. Colleges are going to come in and try to recruit football players. Look, he has 5 S's.
You did good.
You did good, kid.
The only time I ever got S and U was in kindergarten.
Yeah, well, you know.
Now I'm going to be.
I wish I'd had that shit when I was in school.
That would have been easy.
Let me say one last thing, Doug. I didn't even get a chance to go into the coaches, did I?
You can do that at the end here if you want.
All right, here. Listen, you know.
But wait, before you go there, I was told by 2 prominent car dealer owners today that at Texas Roadhouse of all places that gas will be 99 cents by the first of the year.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, because we ain't gonna have no fucking cars to drive. We ain't got the chips yet. Oh, we were told that's right. We're gonna have chips by November.
Let's end on a good note.
Well, okay. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go with the kids today, the kids back when I grew up. Okay, you go through life. You know, you make decisions from the time you 8 tall. Bad ones, good ones, whatever. There's always a couple people when you go through the schools, and this is why it's, you know, this just flows into what we're talking about, Doug. These teachers nowadays, the way they do things. You know, back when I played, I was an athlete. I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school and shit. And you always run by coaches that you love. That at the time you hated their guts, Doug. You hated them. You couldn't stand them. Then, you know, you get out of high school and you're 19, 20 years old. Well, fuck, you know everything there is to know in life. You know, they don't. But as you get older, you realize how much these people meant to you. And you know, I was eating dinner with my parents tonight, and you know, there's certain voices and stuff you go through life that just are embedded in your head from, you know, football, basketball, whatever. If you played, you understand. Guy walked in. We thought he looked like a cousin of my mom's. Whatever. I didn't pay much attention to it. So we're leaving, and I'm holding the door, and I'm facing outside. I'm holding it with my left shoulder. And I hear this guy talk behind me. And it's like a deja vu flashback type thing. Before I even really turned around, I said, Coach Caldwell. As I'm turning around, he goes, yeah. And, you know, it's my senior. I had 3 head coaches throughout sophomore, junior, and senior. Coach Caldwell was my senior. One of the greatest coaches I ever had, discipline-wise, everything. You know, and then you go to Coach Al Pujo, was my line coach my sophomore year, my baseball coach, you know, in high school. He actually is at the top. That guy, even when he went to another school, you know, he kept track of stuff. Greatest guy. Lori and Al Pujo are on Facebook. I talk to them all. You go through life, these coaches, and that's why I think it's important for kids to play sports or be involved in something. You know, Paul Hypley, I don't know one person that did like him when we were in school, and I know a bunch of us love him. Thought he, you know, freshman football coach. I never forget. I'm doing bear crawls. We got home from a football game, and I don't know. I act up on him, but Miles, get your ass on the line. We just got done with the game. I got off the bus. I'm doing bear crawls, and anybody that's been in football know bear crawls suck. I mean, goal line to goal line, back and forth, and he's out there. Everybody else going in. My dad walks up. What's going on, Coach? Wanted to act like an asshole, I'm going to treat him like an asshole. You do with that. Whatever you got to do, you go out there and kick him in the ass. If you want that little son of a bitch don't want to listen to you, you do what it takes. And, you know, that's what's missing. You know, these coaches were hard on you. They were hard on me. Coach Caldwell was hard on me. But now, 35 years later, Doug, I realized they were doing it to make me the best I could be.
All right.
Once I got out of high school, I had a scholarship. I quit. I made them decisions. They were trying to prepare me to make me a better person to go up the ladder. And what we have now is we have parents that if a coach says, what the hell are you doing? You can't talk to my kid like that. I'm going to school board.
Right.
And that's not making our kids better people. These are people that drove me crazy. I had to do, you know, run McIntyre Road. Anybody from Edison, Tammy will understand. Run McIntyre Road all the way back to Old Stone Road across it. And, you know, in pads and everything. You had to do bear crawls. They'd kick you in the ass. They'd line up across from you, smack you in the helmet, grab you by the face mask, shake you around. It made me a better person. And the problem with society today is we're not making our kids better people. I will never forget them. I got a top 5 coaches I'll never forget. Coach Caldwell, to me, it was an honor to see that, one, he's still in very good shape and living. And it was an honor to say hi to him again at my age, knowing what he tried to do for me. You know, it's no, there ain't nobody harder than that motherfucker. But, you know, and I'm going to leave the show on this. Reflect back to when you were a kid. And if you played sports or teachers the way they were. You're where you're at today because of the way we were brought up.
Right.
Right and wrong. We weren't taught that everybody gets a trophy. You know, participation. Everybody, you know, everybody's okay. There's no real winning or losing. We were taught you won or you lost. And if you lost, you tried harder to win. And one of the few things I think why I still stick around racing is it's still that way. Only one person gets a checker flag at the end of the race. One person. You lose, go back and make your car better. In life, you get kicked down. You're not going to succeed at everything. I put a thing up. I don't know if you guys seen it. Denzel Washington. You want to listen to a great motivation speaker? Listen to Denzel Washington. He tells you, you got to fail. You got to fail sometimes. You're not successful at everything you do. What we're not teaching our kids is you're going to fail. You're not always going to make the team. Everybody gets a trophy. That's no good. That's why we're dealing with issues we're dealing with. You have to fail. Pick yourself up and move on. In racing, I've failed miserably. I don't know how many times, Doug, in my 30-year career or whatever in racing, I've failed miserably. And the problem is, and the good thing, a lot of times I haven't made them same mistakes again. I have before, got kicked in the nuts again, and so I knew better. You know, you have to fail to succeed. And we're not teaching our kids that. These coaches that I had, Coach Caldwell, Coach Pujo, Coach Hypley, Coach Welfley, you know, Coach Stahl, you know, I go on down the ladder. These coaches that I had were the first ones that kicked me in the ass, grabbed my face mask, throw me to the ground, made me do bear crawls. But they're also the first ones to pat me on the shoulders and say, great job. And we're not doing that today, Doug. We're not teaching kids. You're going to fail. You're not going to make the team just because you went out. You know, you have to work to get to that point. So I want to thank, I know they ain't watching, you know, I know they're not, but I want to thank these Coach Caldwell. It was just, first thing I did, wasn't Doug, called Doug, hey man, you ain't going to believe this. And it's weird that these people in your lives in the past 30, 40 years ago, you don't have to see their face, just hear their voice. And it's still embedded. And you kind of get that, you know, you almost, you know, stand up a little straighter or whatever because you're waiting for him to kick in. Stand up right, you know. But he said, hey, you know, I heard him talk, and it was just so. If you got kids, remember that. You know, remember back to when you were a kid. These people, along with your parents, you didn't get. Well, it's okay, Jimmy. I know you won't do that again. Go on, play your game.
Right.
You got your ass kicked and you got sent to your room.
You're still going to get a trophy.
Yeah. It's okay. You're going to get, you know, it's like sitting down to dinner. How many people sit down and have dinner at the table anymore?
Right.
Better question is this. How many times when you sat down to dinner, Doug, when you were a kid, I really don't like that.
Right.
You're going to eat it or you're going to not eat.
You
didn't go to the refrigerator and,
it was almost something like eat it or wear it.
Eat it. Or, you know, here's a better one. How many of you people went through this? Oh, you didn't eat it? Okay. It went in the refrigerator. Woke up next morning. I'm hungry. What's for breakfast? Oh, you're just in luck. I warmed up last night's dinner. Here you go. Trust me. You know, we're in a society today. Oh my God, you didn't feed them. That would be the first thing come out of people's mouth. Junior ain't gonna die from missing a meal. Trust me. You know, Junior isn't gonna die from missing a meal. It taught him. You know, it taught him. You got to take the good with the bad sometimes. Be happy that you got a meal. You know, you don't know how hard your parents worked until you're up here now. How hard your parents worked to put that meal on the table.
Right.
Instead, we say, I ain't eating that shit. And that's what some kids say now. I ain't eating that shit. And what do? Jump up, fix them another, you know.
Yeah.
I could just imagine saying, I ain't eating that shit to my dad.
You're right. I'd
have got smacked upside the head, knocked off. It's just like, well, Jimmy's depressed. He's got some mental issues. You know, I got to take him to the doctor. You didn't get a doctor when I was a kid. Here's a quick cure for whatever issues you were having.
Right.
I'm trying to blame a hand upside the head and a boot in the ass. You got sent to your room.
Yep.
You know what I mean, Doug? There wasn't no video games.
Right.
You know, but our generation has created a bad time for the newer generation, Doug. We can't have Pepe Le Pew. We can't have this. We can't have Dr. Seuss. But we can have Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. You know, tell me what's worse. Snow
You're
White,
right.
Prince
You're right.
Charming kissing Snow White while she's asleep to bring her out of it. Wow, that's showing that
Unwanted advancement.
Unwanted advancement. Or Grand Theft Auto, dude knocking somebody's head off with a baseball bat, graphic blood splatting everywhere, and stealing a car and driving down the road and getting 20 extra points because you did it in 5 seconds.
Right.
All right. We're going to end on that. I want to thank them coaches, though. You know who you are. Al Pujo and his wife, Lori. I through my years, Coach Caldwell was great. It was great. But Al Pujo, all I can say is thank you for doing what you tried to do 38 years ago. And through the years, we kept in contact. And all I can say is thank you for being the person you were. Thank these coaches. It's a thankless job. They can't do their job anymore like they used to.
True.
But, all right, peoples. Use peoples.
You people.
Remember, there'll be some kind of an election in November. Get out and vote.
In some form.
In some form or shape. Get out and vote. The worst vote is the one that isn't cast. And we still ain't found a Biden supporter.
That's true. It's been what, 7 months, 8 months?
Been asking since January. Come show us how things are better. And he put out there the other day, did you see that? Things are getting better and coming along.
Yeah.
Really?
Lost his rocker. By the way, permitting 12th grade students to re-enroll, that is now in the Senate.
What?
Remember? We talked about that.
Yeah, they go back. Can they play football again? That's what I want to know.
I didn't read the whole thing.
That's what I know.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yeah, they can go through. Yeah.
So let me ask this question: if a kid was, let's say I'm 18 again, turned 18, graduated, right? Got my diploma, and I didn't get recruited like I wanted for college football. Well, you know what? I'm going to re-enroll and play again.
Because now
I'm a little bit bigger,
mm-hmm.
a little bit smarter.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and play and get what, a 4-year scholarship? Is that fair?
You'll have to ask those that put this up.
Is that fair to the sophomores that come up to be a junior and now that spot's taken? They waited on the sidelines. Of course, kids nowadays, they all get to play, so I guess it doesn't matter. No, Joe, you're not fucked. They got a diploma. They're done. Didn't we check on that?
We did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not. If they re-enroll,
they graduated once.
Yeah,
so.
It's up to them now. You know, they went to, you don't get popped for child support.
Right.
So, God damn it, I got to take the Camaro back. Camaro for sale. You'll see it on Facebook Marketplace. For sale.
Senate Bill 200 now.
Senate Bill. Oh, it's through the House. In Ohio or in federal?
Ohio. The sugar cookie's still stalled.
That's one of the bills we were talking about.
And the create a weirdo cat lovers of Cleveland license plate. That one's still stalled.
But this one passed. Whatever.
We'll get it.
All right, people. Make sure if you want to see the racing side of things, Tuesday night, Sandusky Speedway Live, 7:30.
We got a big show coming up.
Yeah, we do. We got a real big show coming up this next Saturday, Ohio Wheelman Series, expecting 35, 40 cars. I mean, it's going to be right up there. It's not high miler, but it's going to be pushing it, Doug. It's going to be a good show, great show. I believe, Jeff, you're coming over and announcing that show from what I was told the other day. I'm not sure. Jeff Baker's coming to announce that.
Facebook coming after you?
What?
I heard your siren.
Yeah, here they come, the Facebook police. No, that ain't the Facebook police. All the shit we were talking about earlier. It's probably federal Biden. Yeah. The hooker. Hi. He ain't called me a hooker yet tonight, but I know he's gonna, so go get him. I'm done with it. But Thursday night, Hammer Down Racing Report at 7:00 on Facebook. Go over and look. Hammer Down, they do a Facebook Live, and then right after, around 8:00, Shady Bull Speedway does one. Rick Young down there, great guy. He was in with us, Doug, from we were talking earlier in the show. We had to fight when the pandemic started, and he was with us in the beginning. And then when we switched and said we got to ask questions, he was right with us, contact with us.
He's still looking for Nino Vitel.
If
anybody knows where he's at, let us know.
Yeah, where's Waldo? Where's Nino Vitel, Congressman, Ohio Congressman for Champaign County? Nino Vitel, we're still waiting for you to come on our show. Remember that? He said he would to Jerry Smith. Oh, yeah, I'll come on there. And then I had confrontation with him on his own page.
Yep. Remember? He must have watched one of these and said, there's no way.
Guys, read up on Mark Paquita. Yeah, it might be at the end of that show. Mark Paquita running for United States Senate 2022. There you are. Listen, go like his page. Listen to what he has to say. He's kind of harsh. He tells it. He's not a bullshit around, skip around. He tells it straight up how he feels, and
he's not in it for the money.
No, if he gets elected, all his money will be donated. He's not taking a paycheck. Go look him up on Facebook. Start following him. Hear what he has to say. This is what we need, Doug.
Yes, and here's another guy that you want to look into as well.
Joe Blystone, for governor.
And he does not agree with all the permitting that you're paying for this and that and all that. He disagrees with all that.
And you know, he's not a politician too, Doug.
Right.
He's sick of the politics. He can go in and do it, and he's not doing it for the money. He has very successful farm business, restaurants, very successful businessmen. These are the people you want to go like their pages and follow them. Mark was on our show. He didn't have to come on our show, Doug.
Right.
I mean, Mark was on our show it was almost 2 hours listening to that guy speak and what he was talking. This guy is running for Senate. Even the Republican Party's kind of, he isn't, he isn't with the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of, push him off. Look these guys up. DJ Swearingen, there's a few things I've questioned a little bit, but DJ Swearingen, he's in Erie County, Ohio Congress. I can't thank him enough. Without his help, I don't know if we'd have got as far. Teresa Gavarone, Ohio Senate, without their help, we wouldn't have got as far too. So, we want to thank all these politicians and the one that are running. Please go, the ones that we talked about, please go like their Facebook pages and follow them. Listen to what they got to say and register to vote if you're not. Because if you're not registered to vote, you ain't got no reason to bitch about one thing. You didn't vote. You sit there and take it and eat the shit. That's all I can tell you. Other than that, Doug, you got anything?
Nothing on this end. I think I've done my job tonight.
Yeah, I didn't get wound up too bad. They didn't throw me off this week.
No, but
last
that lady,
week, I tell you what, last week
threw them off a couple times.
They kicked my ass off. I mean, they're the ones that blocked it. You guys are having problems. If you have problems, if you're having problems getting on this show, message me or Doug. We want to know because it's bullshit. Yeah. I mean, I feel Facebook's a good thing on one hand, but on the other hand, their censorship and how they do shit is just horrid. And the stupid son of bitches don't even realize that if Biden and them get their way, the first thing they're going to censor is media. And they'll be the first ones to get hacked. And that stupid bastard's up there sucking his nuts. That's terrible. You know what I mean, Doug?
Yep.
So, I mean, if they want to stay in business, they better go to the right side. Because if the left side gets away, he'll be the first one to get his head chopped. You know, if Hillary has his way, he'll be committing suicide.
Right.
You know, so, all right, people. God bless America.
See ya.
Have a good night.